Yeah, as I said, I was at the opening ceremony and Heather Steinmeier was talking about how ICANN has implemented the gTLD policy, and she had quite a few concerns. Do you share those concerns? Do you agree with INTA's input in terms of its recommendations to ICANN and the IRT?
Yeah.
And what is your general position on that?
Well, I think that INTA's input is, of course, input that they gathered through various committees that deal with that. And I think the statements that are made by INTA are valid statements. So a couple of elements that we've put forward in the context of the new gTLD process. We proposed to establish this IP clearinghouse because we have a very good background and experience in doing similar projects. So the IP clearinghouse is something that we put forward to the implementation recommendation team,
right,
as one of the ideas that could help brand owners in effectively and efficiently, cost efficiently enforcing their rights in the context of new gTLDs. So I think we can fully support the positions that are taken by INTA, that indeed brand owners need to get, certainly when you liberalize the namespace to hundreds, potentially in the next couple of years, potentially thousands new extensions,
right,
you need to give appropriate tools to brand owners in order to police that, to enforce their rights and to protect their trademarks.
And do you think companies have been proactive enough in adapting to this new phase, new era? They've been,
it's a bit difficult to tell. I think there's a lot of companies out there that have no clue on what is happening. Yeah, and I think certainly INTA is doing a very good job in trying to be as vocal as possible about sending out communications to their members, first of all, and also to a lot of members are then law firms or trademark agents, and they can filter that information through to their clients. So this process, INTA is quite active in putting that forward. We see also quite a lot of companies that say, well, look, maybe this new gTLD initiative is a good thing to have our .brand, to protect or to have an internet domain name registry under our brand. And well, what we're doing in that respect is, unlike most of the internet consultants that are out there who have never run a registry before or never operated and launched a registry before, we've done like 10 or 12 by now.
Yeah.
So we actually make cost calculations, we give them process information on what needs to be done. Most of the internet consultants out there, they're basically saying, well, look, draft applicant guidebook, this is what it says, and these are the 50 questions that you need to answer. What we're doing is basically doing feasibility studies with major brand owners in order to say, well, look, have you considered the full process implications, the cost implications? How do you need to adapt your structure? How do you make sure that your brand is not diluted by doing these kinds of things?
Yeah.
So it is looking at things from a much more holistic perspective.
Right.
So you have a couple of brands who actually say, well, look, we are maybe not really in favor of the new gTLDs, but if they come along, we want to play an active role. Because you can stand, of course, you can stand at the sideline and moan about the whole process.
Yeah.
But I think what everyone needs, and I think certainly also ICANN would support, is as much input as possible on how they need to steer this and move this process forward.
Okay. So last question. .co is a Colombian initiative. Do you see any other countries following suit in releasing their country domain names to private enterprise and trademark owners?
Well, what certainly will be the case, we clearly see that now, is that a lot of country code TLDs, with the advent of new gTLDs, they fear to lose market share, to lose customers, to lose registrations. So we see that some of them are preparing themselves for also opening up their top-level domain in order to get more registrations in before the actual new gTLD program will commence. So there are a couple of countries who take initiative in that respect. And certainly also now with ICANN having launched the CCTLD IDN fast-track process for countries where they're going to allow countries where the official script is another script than the standard Latin one, to have their TLD, their extension, their country code TLD, in that native script.
Right. Yeah.
So also there things are moving. So it can certainly be very difficult for brand owners to follow all these new developments. And there's certainly a role for INTA to play. I think that INTA is playing that role very well in this.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.